It used to be a nursery school for the children of Chernobyl. For the tourist hordes exploring this nuclear exclusion zone. They're beeping radiation alarms, part of the creepy experience. This entire area was evacuated back in 1986 after the then Soviet Union acknowledged the catastrophic release of radiation from Chernobyl reactor number 4. It's also the dramatic backdrop for the recent HBO drama, which paints a terrifying picture of the Soviet regime in denial, leaving its own citizens in harm's way. Chernobyl, the miniseries, has been viewed so widely, it's credited with raising global awareness of the dangers of our nuclear age.
Well, I like the...
It used to be a nursery school for children of Chernobyl. Now it's one of the morbid attractions for the tourist hopes exploring this nuclear exclusion zone. There are beeping radiation alarms part of the creepy experience. Their beeping radiation alarms are partly a part of the creepy experience. This entire area was evacuated back in 1986 after the then Soviet Union acknowledged the catastrophic release of radiation from Chernobyl reactor number 4. It's also the dramatic backdrop to the recent HBO drama, which paints a terrifying picture of the Soviet regime in denial, leaving its own citizens in the harm's way. Chernobyl, the miniseries has been viewed so widely. It's credited with raising global awareness of the dangers of a nuclear age.
It used to be a nursery school for the children of Chernobyl. Now it's one of the morbid attractions for the tourist hordes exploring this nuclear exclusion zone. They're beeping radiation alarms, part of the creepy experience. This entire area was evacuated back in 1986 after the then Soviet Union acknowledged the catastrophic release of radiation from Chernobyl reactor number 4. It's also the dramatic backdrop to the recent HBO drama, which paints a terrifying picture of the Soviet regime in denial, leaving its own citizens in harm's way. Chernobyl, the miniseries, has been viewed so widely, it's credited with raising global awareness of the dangers of our nuclear age.
Well, I liked about how real it was and how intense it was. It kept in suspense, and then you realize it's actually how it happened in real life. And then after the show, I was watching a lot of documentaries, wanted to find out more about this. Yeah. And I found out that there's tours there, and then you can come over.
You're not worried about the radiation?
The way I understand is the risk of being here one day is same as smoking 3 cigarettes, and I'm a non-smoker.
Tour operators say visitor numbers are expected to double this year as caution towards Chernobyl turns to curiosity.
Wow, I like about how real it was and how intense it was. It kept in suspense, and then you realize that actually it all happened in real life. It all happened in real life. And then after the show, I was watching a lot of documentaries, wanted to find out more about this, and I found out there are tours there, and that you can come over. You are not worried about the radiation. The way I understand it, the risk of being here one day is the same as smoking 3 cigarettes, and I'm not a smoker. Tour operators say visitor numbers are expected to double this year as caution towards Chernobyl turns to curiosity.
Walking through this nuclear ghost
Well, I liked about how real it was and how intense it was. It like kept in suspense, and then you realize it's actually how happened in real life. And then after the show, I was watching a lot of documentaries, wanted to find out more about this, and I found out that there's tours there, and then you can come over.
You're not worried about radiation?
The way I understand is the risk of being here one day is like same as smoking 3 cigarettes, and I'm a non-smoker.
Tour operators say visitor numbers are expected to double this year as caution towards Chernobyl turns to curiosity. Walking through this nuclear ghost town, you get a strong sense of the catastrophic dangers of nuclear power. I mean, how could you avoid it? But there's something much broader too. An idea that Chernobyl is a warning from the past about what can happen when governments try to hide the truth, and how even innocent people can be sacrificed to protect those in power. For some,
walking through this nuclear ghost town, you get a strong sense of the catastrophic dangers of nuclear power. I mean, how could you avoid it? But there's something much broader too. An idea that Chernobyl is a warning from the past about what can happen when governments try to hide the truth, and how even innocent people can be sacrificed to protect those in power.
walking through this nuclear ghost town,
you get a strong sense of the catastrophic dangers
of nuclear power. How could you avoid it? But there's something much broader too. An idea that Chernobyl is a warning from the past about what can happen when governments try to hide the truth, and how even innocent people can be sacrificed to protect those in power. For some Chernobyl visitors like Ed from Texas, it's a message still relevant today.
It symbolizes a very strong need for not prevaricating about information,
not
lying about information, but being forthright. And a lot could have differently.
A lot could have happened differently.
The lying not taken place.
Chernobyl is the ultimate consequence, isn't it? What happens when governments fail to acknowledge reality, the truth.
Exactly.
But there are concerns.
For some Chernobyl visitors like Ed from Texas, it's a message still relevant today. I think it symbolizes a very strong need for not prevaricating about information, not lying about information, but being forthright. Not lying, being forthright, and a lot could have happened differently had the lying not taken place. 次な。家庭法 Had the line not taken place. Chernobyl is the ultimate consequence. Chernobyl is the ultimate consequence, isn't it? Of what happens when governments fail to acknowledge reality, the truth. Exactly.
For some Chernobyl visitors like Ed from Texas, it's a message still relevant today.
It symbolizes a very strong need for not prevaricating about information, not lying about information, but being forthright. And a lot could have happened differently had the lying not taken place.
Chernobyl is the ultimate consequence, isn't it? What happens when governments fail to acknowledge reality, the truth.
Exactly.
For some Chernobyl visitors like Ed from Texas, it's a message still relevant today.
I think it symbolizes a very strong need for not prevaricating about.
But there are concerns. The horrors portrayed so graphically in the HBO series, especially of the so-called liquidators sacrificed to clean up the radioactive mess, are being trivialized by Chernobyl's tourism boom. But perhaps a few tasteless selfies are a low price to pay for relearning the terrible lessons of the world's worst nuclear disaster. Matthew Chance, CNN, inside the Chernobyl.
But there are concerns. The horrors portrayed so graphically in the HBO series, especially of the so-called liquidators sacrificed to clean up the radioactive mess, are being trivialized by Chernobyl's tourist boom. perhaps a few tasteless selfies a low price to pay for relearning the terrible lessons of the world's worst nuclear disaster. Perhaps a few tasteless selfies a low price to pay for relearning the terrible lessons of the world's worst nuclear disaster. Perhaps a few tasteless selfies a low price to pay for relearning the terrible lessons of the world's worst nuclear disaster. Matthew Chan, CNN, inside the Chernobyl exclusion zone.
But there are concerns, the horrors portrayed so graphically in the HBO series, especially of the so-called liquidators sacrificed to clean up the radioactive mess,
are being trivialized by Chernobyl's tourism boom. But perhaps a few tasteless selfies a low price to pay for relearning the terrible lessons of the world's worst nuclear disaster. Matthew Chan, CNN, inside the Chernobyl exclusion zone. One more time.
It used to be a nursery school
for children of Chernobyl. Now it's one of the morbid attractions for the tourist hordes exploring this nuclear exclusion zone. They are beeping radiation alarms, part of the creepy experience. This entire area was evacuated back in 1986. After the same, the Soviet Union acknowledged the catastrophic release of radiation from Chernobyl reactor number 4. It's also a dramatic backdrop to the recent HBO drama, which paints a terrifying picture of the Soviet regime in denial, leaving its own citizens on harm's way. Chernobyl miniseries has been viewed so widely, it's credited with raising global awareness of the dangers of a nuclear age.
Well, I liked about how real it was and how intense it was.
It was kept in suspense, and then realized that actually it happened in real life.
And then after the show, I was watching a lot of documentaries and wanted to find out more about this. And I kept finding out that there's tourists there and they can come over. They were aware of the decision. The way I understand is the risk of being here one day is like same as smoking 3 cigarettes, and I'm not a smoker.
Tour operators
say visitor's number is expected to double this year as cautions towards Chernobyl turns to curiosity. Walking through this nuclear ghost town, you get a strong sense of a catastrophic danger of nuclear power. I mean, how could you avoid it?
But there's something much
broader too, an idea that Chernobyl is a warning from the past about what can happen when governments try to hide the truth, and how even innocent people can be sacrificed to protect those in power.
For some Chernobyl
visitors like Eddie from Texas, it's a message still relevant today. I think it symbolizes a very strong need for not prevaricating about information, not lying about information, but being forthright, and a lot could have happened differently. The lying not taking place.
Chernobyl is
the ultimate consequence, isn't it? What happens when acknowledge reality.
Exactly.
But there are concerns, the horrors portrayed so graphically in the HBO series, especially of the so-called liquidators sacrificed to clean up the radioactive mess, are being trivialized by Chernobyl's tourism boom. But perhaps a few tasteless selfies are a low price to pay for relearning the terrible lessons of the world's worst nuclear disaster.
Matthew Chan, CNN, inside the Chernobyl exclusion zone.
Now, Chernobyl is a famous place for a lot of people who watch the HBO series and TV drama. They think they want to know more about the Chernobyl nuclear disasters, what happened, what governments did at the time, and what could have happened differently. had the line not taken place at that moment. Now Chernobyl is kind of how to say, like a spot for people relearning about the nuclear disasters. And one guy from Texas, one guy from I forgot where he was from, but he mentioned that visiting this place, visiting Chernobyl is just like smoking 3 cigarettes a day one day. So he doesn't take the radiation so seriously. That he should probably. Now Chernobyl is not just a dangerous place or radioactive place as it used to be believed. No, it's more like a sightseeing spot where people can learn about the history and nuclear disasters influence. Of course, there are not people living there anymore. Well, I think visiting the Chernobyl is a good lesson for people. But I don't think visiting there many times visiting there many times is good for our bodies. First, they can learn about history, what happened, and second, the action of their visiting Chernobyl, like taking selfies and posting them on say SNS account. A lot more people who didn't go to Chernobyl can learn about the reality of Chernobyl as well. It boosts the relearning about the place. And third, from the economic perspective in Russia, which has Chernobyl inside, they can learn a lot more money from the visitors there.